great to be able to share with you today about the love of God, and my prayer is that it would be a real encouragement for you today. If you have your Bibles with you, if you want to turn to John chapter 11, we heard this passage before, but I want to read this brief story to you again and then see how it applies to our life today. And we read now, a man named Lazarus was sick. He was from Bethany, the village of Mary and her sister Martha. This Mary, whose brother Lazarus now lay sick, was the one who poured perfume on the Lord and wiped his feet with her hair. So the sisters sent word to Jesus, "Lord, the one you love is sick." When he heard this, Jesus said, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." Now Jesus loved Martha and her sister and Lazarus. Today's message is based on love, but I'm going to call it the one you love. The one you love. So if you want to turn to the person next to you or near you and say to them, "You are the one he loves." Even if you're not sure you believe it, just encourage them, "You are the one he loves." All right, let's continue now with prayer. God, we thank you so much for your grace. In these moments, Lord, we need far more than information. We need to encounter you in a real way. I pray that you would make this moment matter in our everyday life. I pray, Lord, that we would see more and more of your extraordinary goodness and love. Thank you for your grace. Amen. Now, have you heard anybody say that in the heat of the moment you end up saying stuff you don't mean? Have you heard anybody ever say that? A few of you. In the heat of the moment, they say that you say things that you don't mean. Now, I fundamentally disagree with that. I think in the heat of the moment you actually say things that you really mean. I think when things intensify and circumstances get difficult and stressful and complicated, I think what you really believe about life, what you really believe about God, what you really believe about yourself somehow just seems to come to the surface and often just slips through your lips. Now, I've had one of these situations in my life, some point in my marriage. Now, I've been married for almost 10 years. I know that's shocking because I look so young and handsome, but early on in our marriage, Kel and I had kind of a heated situation. Now, somewhere along the line, we read the book, The 5 Love Languages. Has anyone read that book by Dr. Gary Chapman? It's a fantastic book. If you don't know it, let me give you a quick rundown of it. So Dr. Chapman's premise is that he believes everybody has a love language. This love language is how you feel love. It's oftentimes also how you express love. His book outlines the 5 different love languages, hence the name. And there are the 5 love languages. You've got quality time, you've got affirmation, words of affirmation, gifts, acts of service, and physical touch. Those are the 5 love languages. Now, you might be wondering, what are my love languages? And Dr. Chapman says you normally have a top one, another which is high but not as high, and my love language is gifts. Receiving gifts. I love it. If you want to make me feel loved, give me a gift. So the idea was your wife and you are supposed to connect, and she's supposed to understand how I feel love, and I'm supposed to understand how she feels love. But I didn't really pay much attention to her love language because I thought I knew women. You know, I was raised by a strong woman. I have a sister. I know women. I know how they tick. You just buy them things, right? And so at some point, Kel shared her love language. I probably really didn't listen like I should because I knew what I needed to know. And I bought her home trinkets and things and gifts I got from eBay, thinking I was just blessing her with love. But she was impervious to my attempts. She couldn't understand it. I couldn't understand what was going on. One afternoon I was out with some friends, I can't remember what day it was, and was about to come home, and I was thinking of my awesome wife, how beautiful she was, and how she was probably fixing me dinner. Now I know better, but I was feeling on top of the world. And so I come home into the kitchen and I'm like, "Hey honey, I'm home," and you could feel this sort of chill in the air. Now only married men probably know what I'm talking about right now. It's palatable. I mean, it's real. There was a chill. Something was wrong and I didn't understand it. And I come in and she's like nothing, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she goes, "I'm fine." And I want to talk to the ladies for a moment. When I got married, I actually thought that when women said that they were fine, that they actually meant that they were fine. Now I know that ladies have some sort of code language. I'm convinced that you take 12 or 13-year-old girls out on some sort of code language retreat, and you teach them that when the day comes home and they marry some stupid knucklehead and he does so many stupid things and he comes home and he wants to talk to them, you're going to use the word fine. And the word fine, I've learned, means that there are so many things that are not fine, I don't even know where to start with you. And so I was thinking Kel was fine, and I said, okay, and then she said, I don't understand. And I said something like, you're fine, I'm fine, let's see. And then she says again, I don't understand. And then a pause, and then she says, are you going to go out with your friends all the time? And my first thought, if I'm being honest, was to wonder if that was even an option, because if it was, she was more fine than I even realised. But guys, while we're on topic, we're just getting stuff out in the open today. Have you noticed, married men, have you noticed that when your wife asks an overly rhetorical question, you know it's rhetorical by the tone, but then she leaves a space, a pause, as if she wants you to respond. And I think they learn that on their retreat too. And so she goes, are you going out with your friends all the time? And I'm thinking, is this rhetorical? Do I need to respond? And I say, no, yes, no, I'm not sure. And it's a trap. It's one of their tricks. And I know how to answer now after almost 10 years of marriage, 10 years of seasoning, that's helped. And if she was to say, are you going to go out with your friends every day? And this is how I would answer now. I would say, are you? Right? Because marriage is all about winning. Not really. I'll admit, that night things might have escalated a little bit, things intensified, got stressful, laundry may have been launched, and there might have been some yelling, and so I started defending myself. And then I said it. I did. I said it. I may have said something like, really, out of all the love languages you could have, you have to have quality time. There are 4 others to choose from. And I'd promised myself that I would never say it, but it just came out. And look, we've moved on from that, I think, and looking forward to celebrating 10 years of marriage in 2 months and 2 days' time. We get to celebrate it, if you can do the maths, on Good Friday this year. Kel's not so impressed I have to work, but I love spending time with her and helping her fill her love tank with quality time. But if we are honest, when life gets difficult, challenging, when things intensify, situations escalate, what ends up happening is that what you really believe, what you swore you would never say, what you think a lot about, ends up coming to the surface, doesn't it? In fact, this is true. Then that brings us back to the 5 short verses we read before, because Mary and Martha, they are in the thick of it. Mary and Martha, they're in a heated moment, to say the least. Their little brother, Lazarus, their beloved little brother, is on death's doorstep. He is hours from dying. And it becomes clear to me in our portion of Scripture that they have attempted all other avenues to save their little brother. Now, they've come to the conclusion that there's only one answer, and it's a miracle, and there's only one miracle worker, and that is God. They need Jesus to come and to heal Lazarus. They need Jesus to come and save Lazarus' life. They get a very logical plan. Then they're going to write a note. They're going to put it in a runner's hand. Jesus, he's several miles down the road. They're going to have the runner run down those several miles, hand the note to Jesus. Upon reading this note and its contents are going to compel God to come down the road several miles and save their brother's life. Now we're about to discover what Mary and Martha believe about God. When push comes to shove, when it's a matter of life and death, the heat is on. What Mary and Martha really believe about Jesus is about to come to the surface. Now keep in mind, Mary, Martha and Lazarus are naturally almost the closest natural family to Jesus on the planet, other than obviously his literal family. The second to last week of Jesus' life is spent exclusively with Mary, Martha and Lazarus. They are close friends with Jesus. Lazarus, kind of like one of Jesus' guys, he's like one of his wingmen. And the note that they write to Jesus reads, "Lord, the one you love is sick." Now, the first thing that I notice is the length of the note, and it is shocking in and of itself. I mean, how short is it? If you had one note to save your loved one's life, first of all, I don't think that it's going to be all that short. If I'm trying to save, no, look, if you had one note to save your mother-in-law's life, it might read, "Maybe God, I know you're busy, all the best." But if you have one note to save your loved one's life, one note maybe to save my sister's life, I would instantly go to her resume. I would start listing her spiritual statistics, her average time in daily prayer, her giving to the church, the amount of times that she's attended worship. I mean, this is life and death. God, hello, this is Susan, my sister. You know Susan, you love Susan, Susan loves you. But listen to what Mary and Martha write. "Lord, the one you love is sick." That's it, that's the end. This is what Mary and Martha believe. They believe that what will move God the most is his love for Lazarus, not Lazarus' love for him. Now this is quite deep when you think about it, because what is the focus of the gospel, which is the good news of what God has done for us through Jesus? What is the focus? Is it people loving God or God loving people? And I think you'll come to the obvious biblical conclusion that the essence of the gospel is overwhelmingly God loving people. And now here's a thought that could change your entire outlook on God and life. Guess what moves God most? God. God moves God most. It dawned on me, John 3:16, so often we read it like this. "For the world so loved God that he gave his only begotten Son." But that's not what it reads at all. We've been living a life with God as if the gospel story went something like God's in heaven, pacing his gold-laden streets. And on this dusty, small little planet called Earth, there's a remnant of people who are imploring God because of their passion and their desire and their love and their intrigue. They were so enraptured with God. They were saying, "God, come to us. We love you, please." And God paced around and he considered their offer and he wondered, should I? Should I not? I've got so much to do up here, but gee, they're pretty convincing. They sure do want me here. Okay, here I come. That is not the gospel. It says, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life." Look at the third word there, "so," in front of the love. He didn't just love, he so loved. Now let's insert or exchange that word with obsession. And that's fair, I think. God was obsessed with the world. This is John 3:16. Have you ever truly considered how ridiculous and illogical this most famous of verses is? For God so loved the world. Now, world here means bad system, bad people. So John 3:16 is now starting to read a little bit like this. God was so obsessed with bad people that he put skin on bone and came to earth and died. And it says, for whoever. For whoever. Now, I don't understand someone giving their life for a whoever. I mean, if I was to give you a car, for example, you don't go selling that car. You had better be driving that car next time I see you, because I'm giving that car with an expectation that you're going to appreciate it, right? That's how our world works. What did I give you? Are you wearing it? Oh, you didn't like it. Wasn't nice enough for you, hey? God is so obsessed with bad people. He gives his Son on the premise of a whoever. Maybe we can get a few more guarantees from God before he gives himself to whoever, whenever, however, wherever. It asks the question, what kind of love is this? Because it's not a love that we're all too familiar with in our earthly context. God is obsessed with bad people. Now, I don't think this is all that good for God when you think about it. I mean, have you heard of the term groupie before? What's the problem with a groupie, if you think about it, if you're 10 or you're 12 and you're just obsessed with someone, maybe a band who will never reciprocate, does get a little weird though, especially when you're still obsessed with the Spice Girls in your 30s. But have you ever wanted to talk with God based on what you are reading in his book, the Bible? You know, picture this, God, I recently read that while we sleep, you watch us, and I'm starting to get this sinking sensation here that you're obsessed with bad people. Now, God, do you understand that some of these bad people are always going to be bad? Do you know that? And I don't want you to get hurt because you're following these people and you're watching them while they sleep, and they're never going to acknowledge you. You've got this thing called foreknowledge. Maybe, God, you could utilize it a little bit more and just kind of, pick and choose. You are God after all. But God so loves the world. God so loves the world. God is a mystery, and that's what makes him God. God's ways are higher than our ways. His love is higher than our love. God loves bad people. God is obsessed with bad people. Even bad people who stay bad, God stays in love with them. What's love without choice? Without choice, we've really lost the definition of love, haven't we? In our culture and society, forced love's how you go to jail. That's called abuse. God is not abusive. He gives us choice. You can either acknowledge his obsession towards you or you can ignore it. It's your choice, but the obsession remains. God loves. 1 John 4:10 says this is love, and before it tells you what love is, it tells you what it's not. This is love. Not that we love God, but that he loved us and sent his Son. God loved us. God's first. God's the initiator. The Bible is about God. The Bible even starts with God. It says in the beginning, God. No more background information, just in the beginning, which means God began the beginning and he was before the beginning. And I see your eyes starting to glaze over, so I'll stop getting too deep. But think about that. The Bible is about God. We get so busy obsessing over our love and we get things out of order. We sometimes miss the focus of the Bible because we obsess instead over our performance, our deeds, our own efforts. And so this is my conclusion. Mary and Martha, we've made it abundantly clear, they use the word love in their note. Lord, the one you love is sick. The word love that's used here is the word that we most often refer to when we use the word love today. It's what our love songs are sung about. It's the Greek word phileo. And this word used by Mary and Martha means earthly love. Phileo is how people get married. Phileo is how people have best friends. Phileo is love that is based upon reciprocation. Phileo love is how this world works. Mary and Martha, they write the note to Jesus and they go, the one that you love and loves you back is sick. But they got it so wrong. I'm here to tell you this morning that God does not phileo you. He doesn't. He never has and he never will. You see, God has a love that is exclusively his. It flows from his being. It is the essence of who he is, and it is not phileo. It is an otherworldly love, from another realm, another dimension, from the essence and the core of his being. God does not feel love. God does not merely express love. God is love. And God always acts in consistency with the contents of his character. God cannot deny himself. God is love. But God is not phileo. God is agape. Now, what is agape? Agape is a love that absolutely does not need reciprocation whatsoever. It is unconditional. It is relentless. It is persistent. It is aggressive. And it will not take no for an answer. It will always remain. This is God. This is how God functions. He has agape for every human being that has ever lived. God does not phileo humanity. God agapes humanity. Now, I love the Brisbane Broncos. I love dogs. I do not love cats. I love many other things, including my wife, but there is only one being created in the image of God in all of creation, and that is the human being, and that being is the object of God's relentless obsession. He will not stop loving you because he can't. In this instant, biblically, we have to come to understand God cannot help himself. I mean, can you believe how ridiculous this love is? How extensive, how extraordinary this love is? We've got to get the message out that if you think you're bad, God is obsessed with you. He can't help himself, you can't shake him, you can run, but you can't hide. His love always remains. And I pray today that as we hop in our cars, go about our week, I pray that the preoccupation of your mind and your thoughts would not be your love and your performance and your successes or your weaknesses, but you would be preoccupied with God's extraordinary, extensive and expansive love for you. His love never fails. It never gives up. It never quits. For as long as God exists, his love for you remains. And what extraordinary love that is. A love totally and unconditionally just for you. Let's pray. God, we are overwhelmed. We do not have the words to express our gratitude and appreciation for your love. Your love changes everything. And today we pray that it would transform and change our lives. I pray that you would help us to respond, to accept, to acknowledge and revel in the love, in your love towards us.